Hi everybody, it's Ms. Dupree. In the next two videos, we're going to be looking at the properties of metals, nonmetals, and metalloids. Remember, we've already learned that properties are ways to describe or classify matter, and that non-characteristic properties describe matter, but they can't identify what the matter is. Characteristic properties also describe matter, but they are able to identify what type of matter that you have. So one of the primary ways that scientists describe matter is dividing it into three groups: metals, nonmetals, and metalloids. And this is actually one of the ways that the periodic table is arranged. Each group of materials has characteristic properties that help you to identify if it's a metal, a nonmetal, or a metalloid. And we're going to look at the properties of each group. But before we do, it's important to know some vocabulary. The words you're going to learn are the different ways that we can test, describe, and identify metals, nonmetals, and metalloids. So make sure that you're writing these definitions on your graphic organizer. Okay, the first way that we can describe metals, nonmetals, and metalloids is by physical state. And this one's easy. Simply means whether the material is solid, liquid, or gas at room temperature. Why do we say room temperature? Well, think about it. A substance's state of matter can change. A liquid can be frozen into a solid or boiled into a gas. So in order to classify metals, nonmetals, and metalloids, we need to know what state of matter each one would be in if they were all at the same temperature. So in this case, we use room temperature as our guideline. We can also describe a substance by its luster. Luster means how well the object reflects light. A material that reflects a lot of light will be called shiny, and it's going to look really bright or maybe sparkly. A material that does not reflect a lot of light will be called dull. So your describing words for luster will be shiny or dull. Our third descriptive word is malleability. Malleability describes how easily an object can be bent or squeezed into another shape. An object that can bend easily is called malleable. This spoon can be bent out of shape without breaking, so it's malleable. The opposite of malleable is brittle. Objects that are brittle break easily, like this glass. This is what happens to glass if you drop it on the ground or you hit it. It doesn't bend, it just breaks. So your describing words for malleability will be malleable or brittle. Our fourth word is ductility. A material is ductile if it can be stretched out really thin to form wires. Here's a picture of a coil of copper wire, so copper is ductile. A material that is not ductile will break if it gets stretched more than just a little bit, like this piece of wood. Usually, ductile materials are also malleable because obviously, in order to get them stretched into wires, we have to bend and shape them. But that does not mean that all malleable materials are ductile. There are some malleable materials that can be bent and squeezed, but they can't be stretched. So ductile materials are malleable, but not all malleable materials are ductile. And your describing words for ductility will be ductile or non-ductile. Our last word is conductivity. Conductivity describes an object's ability to easily pass energy, like heat or electricity or sound energy. Objects that have conductivity are called conductors. So this metal pot is a conductor. When you place it on the stove, it gets hot really quickly. But the plastic handle on the pot does not conduct heat. That's why you can touch it without burning yourself. Things that do not easily conduct energy are called insulators. So your describing words for conductivity will be conductor or insulator. Okay, that's it for the introduction and vocabulary video. Make sure you've got your graphic organizer filled out with the definitions of these words and the describing words. In the next video, we're going to explore the different properties of metals, nonmetals, and metalloids using the describing words we just learned in this video. Thanks, guys. See you soon.